Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting, brought to you by Hurricane E-Bikes. I'm Watty, this is Mark, and it's time for our roundup show. Plenty of moving around National League, Elite League, not really doing too many bits. Couple of Brits on the move, couple of Team GB boys on the move, and one GB member moving over to Europe. Let's start, Mark, with Reece Kelly heading down the M4, Bristol to Swindon. Obviously, we've been shouting that for a while. Try not to give it away over the last few weeks here, but it's a great signing for them.
Solid signing on what should be another really good Swindon team.
Well, they've
better than last season anyway.
I think so. They've added the addition of Billen and Kelly, arguably one of the better defensemen in the league. I like the signing for them. Obviously, a couple of jock boys at the back there with Plusy as well. Another big heavy body. Swindon are going to be physical at the back there, and that's something that's lacked in the league as a whole. Having two defensemen like that's a nightmare to play against. He had a little bit of an offensive spark to his game, so he might get more of an opportunity to do that playing for Swindon over playing for Bristol. What do you make of the signing? Do you think that's the difference between Swindon? Well, I know it's still early stages yet. And they've got to replace, Loris Taylor. They got to replace Ollie Stone. They got to replace Ben Neversole. We don't know who they're replacing those guys with. They're depth guys, but with their top end guys, your Billings and Reece Kelly. Are you expecting them to be above the 5th place they finished in last year?
Yeah, top 3.
Interesting. Swindon always have that going. It doesn't matter what year it's
on paper. Before the start of every season, it's like, oh, these top 2, and then you just see them like scrape by.
So someone said online today, well, we're going to get into the next signing and kind of tie it in. So Sam Bullis is back for I think it's his 15th year or something. He was there my first year way back. So Bully's been there forever. Someone put, is he part of the problem? No. Let me tell you.
No.
Anyone that's ever been in a locker room, sat next to the man and played with him will tell you he is definitely not the problem. He's not the issue Swindon have been having. He's a fantastic leader for that team and the community as well as just the team. He's his whole life down in Swindon now, obviously. I remember back in the early days when he was commuting and stuff like that, and then he moved down and went to uni, and he was doing the uni thing and commuting across from there. But his life's going to set up in Swindon now, and why would you not have him if he's right there?
Go further, go faster, get fitter. Subscribe today. Hurricane e-bikes have a great range of bikes available on the e-bike subscription plans. The cruiser e-bikes are perfect for beach rides, long distance rides, or just everyday use. The fat bike e-bikes look great and can cope with the toughest terrain, perfect for off-road adventures. The hybrids range are perfect for about town, everyday use and leisurely rides with the family. Take your ride to the next level with the mountain bike and get ready for your next power-assisted adventure.
You'd be mad not to. You'd be mad.
Agreed. Yeah. He's not part of any problem. He's Swindon through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had his testimonial. He's still there. You see guys that get a testimonial and then it's like, see ya. He's stuck around. And quite rightly so. I don't think he's any part of Swindon's issue. Some of Swindon's issue is there's been other teams better than them. I think if that Swindon team performed the best of their ability all year last year, they still wouldn't have finished by the Leeds.
No, Leeds were.
No, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Out.
Yeah, like for me, it wouldn't have made a difference. The points gap, I don't know what it is now. It's so long ago since the season finished. But the way Swindon played versus the way Leeds played, it's miles away. And in order to bridge that gap, signings like Kelly, signings like Billen are going to go a long way to do that. Interested to see who they bring in as their depth guys. That's going to be key. Still a couple of these Basingstoke guys on the market, but one more shipped off. He's joining Liam Morris, Aidan Doughty, and Brendan Baird down at Eddie Landsberg. Obviously, he had a pretty decent season for Basingstoke last year. Point production went way up from his time in Milton Keynes. I think you liked him when you saw him, didn't you?
Yeah, it was decent. It was all right, mate.
He's got some wheels on him. Bracknell look like they're going to be interesting next year. Webby, Vanny, Eddie. They're going to have some like fast guys wheeling around out there. Their signings as of yet, I it's hard to judge with Bracknell because you don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to go the import netminder? Who's going to be their other import? There's talks that there's no chance of Brendan coming back. Well, how true that is, I don't know. I'd be interested.
I
to see
said
if he,
a
if he
few
rocks
months
up.
ago, didn't I? I said he'd end up at somewhere like Leeds or something. One of the
I wouldn't
at
be
the time
surprised,
one of the
mate.
top teams. I really like him as an import.
Well, this brings us. We're doing well. We're segueing without segueing. Let's go to Leeds then. They lose Adam Barnes. He's gone to Blackburn. Fucking shout out to
Solid pickup.
Aussie and those boys over there for that pickup. Probably the pickup of the summer so far for me. Him going back there in that league is a huge plus for Blackburn. So shout out to them. So that takes us back to Leeds. Leeds now need a goal scorer. Brendan Walker. That guy scores goals. You need a third import. There's absolutely no reason to really change anything else in Leeds. So if you basically lost Barnsley and brung in Brendan Walker,
More goals.
You're gonna more goals. You're gonna be fine. I think they keep both imports from last year. Both boys were class. I think be mad not to, but then all these goals got something up his sleeve. The interesting one for me is does Colby Tower stay in Swindon? And if so, does Gail Burley go with him from Basingstoke? Obviously, they were teammates in college before they both came to the national. That would be a good pickup for Swindon. He can score points. He's physical. In that rink down in Swindon, the fans would love him. Honestly, that would be, and this isn't one that we've been sitting on or anything like that. This is talking about what you guys have been speculating online. And obviously it's something that I've thought about just naturally as they were teammates, and it makes sense. I've said before, I'd like to see him on a team where he's not the number one import. Not to say for 1 minute he's not a good player, but I just love everything else that he does. I don't need the pressure of him scoring 85 points. If I put him on Leeds, for example, he doesn't need to score 85 points. He could be the best two-way player in the fucking league, though. And that's it. So I think used on the right team, he's going to be fantastic. If he decides to come back, maybe he wants to go try Germany or France or something like that. But just with the language and stuff like that, it makes the most sense to come back here. He did enough last year in his performances against everybody. I think that he would have impressed all the other coaches.
Yeah, and like you say, if he's on a stronger team, then you're not going to use him on a top line really.
No, you wouldn't
and
need to.
He's going to play a huge part. You could do, and rightly so. He's got the ability to be on the top line, but like somewhere like Leeds, he's going to struggle to get in the top line there.
Yeah, you would
purely because they're just stacked. But you imagine what that brings to him and what he brings to a team. You know,
I love about him,
he like you say, he loves to throw a hit.
That's it. He's got that Riley Brandt about him as well. Like he'll hit a guy on a back check. He'll hit a guy on a forecheck. He'll finish a guy even when they're going for a line change. He doesn't give a shit. Like if you're there to be hit, he's going to hit you. Interesting to see.
Fans' favourite in a big team, in a team doing well. Guys like this are always like people are shouting them out all the time. Sometimes more than the point scorers.
Yeah, fan favourite, my brother. There you go. Another little segue there. Back to the Red Hawks. Him and Thomas Skokan both back there. Pretty big signings for them. I don't imagine them changing too much. Obviously, they've got little holes to fill here and there. Vanny's a big one, but they've started. They picked up Josh Martin. I don't think we talked about that before. We seem to skim by that. So Josh Martin from the Bees going to join my brother and co down there. High Road's going to be a tough place to go again.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough place. Interesting that there's guys like Adam Barnes on the move in the north. I'll be interested to see if Invicta, Chelmsford, any of those teams have got any any aces up their sleeve? Is Cliff going to manage to convince someone to come down from the national? Is he going to manage a couple of players to come from there? Going to get guys to jump across? We're gonna be following that National 1 South this year. So
That's a huge signing for re-signing for Streatham as well. Your brother has been a key part of that team for a number of years now. So when you've lost Antonov, sometimes fans can be in panic, like, oh no, is Watt going to be back next year? But we'd spoke off it was never in doubt, and yeah, great to see him back there.
Kel Beattie, Solway full time, probably going to get some two-way minutes with the Giants again, but it's a good move for him. He's going to be fantastic as a hockey player as he continues to progress and go on through his career. All the Solway lot are raving about him. Interested to see how he does in the national full time. I don't for 1 minute think that he won't go anything on to be but an elite league player at some stage. This kid's going to play in the elite league regularly and be a full-time regular.
That's someone there that you look at in the next few years. You're looking at GB. And
he also has the ambition to do it. So
yeah, I'm not talking in like 2 years, but I genuinely believe when you Kel, it's going to be in a good few years. That's potentially going to be a GB international player.
Would not bet against it. Emil Svek, he's back at Hull. Good signing for them. They have announced though that Thamar is not coming back. So 2 new imports for Hull this year. Really excited by that. With the way Matty's been doing his recruiting, they might have something to say about your prediction on Swindon finishing in the top 3. Hull Seahawks could be a fucking wagon this year.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Matty. Your second year, no more preferential treatment. We're lumping the pressure on in April, May, or whatever we're in. We're lumping the pressure on early, but he keeps signing good players. And they've also just set up a podcast. So if you're a Hull fan, check that out. They're doing
nice
interviews with the players each week and stuff like that as part of their local radio station or something, I believe. So yeah, we're sharing a love for the podcasts. Who else have we got? Will Weldon back to Phantoms. That's about as much of a shock as Bully going back to fucking Swindon.
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil the later announcement.
The big build up for Wells going back.
Yeah.
Well, just about the next, the same as the next one there. Mr. Testimonial, Lewis Christie, just like his testimonial. He's back at MK. These guys are vital cogs in making these teams work. They've been there for so long. And you pretty much say the same about both of these lads as what you say about Bully. I've played with Welds, never played with Lewis, played with Welds, seemed like a great guy in a short time that I played with him. And like a team guy, everyone in the room loved him. Pretty funny little bastard. And he's a rat prick to play against. So what's not to like?
They're all 3 of those players. All 3 of those players are like that old school EPL model players. You got the national, the younger guys coming through. They're just a completely different style altogether.
Yeah, it is. They grew up in different times. Ed Bradley back at the Pitbulls. Almost missed this one. The announcement kind of snuck out, but it's a 2-year deal. Big signing for them. Obviously, huge season in Bracknell. That got him moved to Bristol. He's now down in Bristol. Juha Lindgren's now relinked back up with him. Potential for another couple of good signings down there. I like this signing for them. Obviously, losing Reece Kelly. They had to replace him. They brought in another Reece down from Fife. But this signing was key for them. Ed Bradley moves the puck well. You can use him on the PP. He skates the puck. He's a transitional D man. He'll take ice. I like him, and I think that's a solid signing for the Pitbulls.
Nice signing. You were mentioning him a lot last year as well. I was one of your favourites.
He's good, man. Like he's a good player. He was a good youngster as well. I remember when he was U15s, U17s. He was still a good player then. I believe he then went off and did some time in the States. Let's bounce down to the Elite League, and in the Elite League, podcast favourite, Mr. Ben O'Connor. And by the way, before I get into him going back to the Flames, we have so many good Ben O'Connor videos in our library on YouTube.
Oh yeah, check them out.
If you have not checked them out, I advise you to go check them out right now. He tells some stories about his time in Kazakhstan that it'll make your brain explode, about almost getting kidnapped, about his apartment getting ran. Like, just go watch.
Check it out. Yeah,
just
have a look.
Also, tells stories about the old Russian gas and training camp. There's a few videos there, some great ones from John Morasti as well. So if you're new to this channel, awesome, welcome aboard. But do go check out some of the back catalogue because there's some diamonds in the rough there. If you really want to laugh, go and watch any Paul Heavey video that's on there because that'll leave your side split.
Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie, what a story! One of my favourites on the podcast of all time. I digress though. Let's go back to Ben O'Connor, arguably the best British defenseman in the league. Still, he got the best British D at the award ceremony end of the year. Top point scoring Brit. Fantastic season for Benny. Big part of the reason Guildford was successful, and they've got him training. Obviously, we knew again about this signing. I was talking to Roop off air. Roop's been up visiting Benny and stuff like that. That's good. We can get Benny flying again next year. That's only good for the top pool. GB, we need him doing that. Sorry, Guildford fans, kind of bypassing your season for a little second there. But the big one for us right now is staying in that pool A and fit, healthy, banging in point form. Ben O'Connor is going to be a big part of that.
Agreed. It's going to be a big part of Flames season as well, whether they can show that last season wasn't a fluke. They've re-signed them quite a lot of the players from last year. So really interested to see the newcomers to the Flames this year, who they add, what they change.
Digger's got some aces up his sleeve for sure. I know that. He's already done it. He's going to go back to the well. He's going to do it again. And he's just going to keep showing why British coaches should be given an opportunity in this league. Ben Lake, another GB man. He's back with the Giants, as well as Tyler Beskorani. We had him on the list last week, but for some obscure reason, we left him off. Obviously, Besko's been pretty much our player of the year since he came into the Elite League. One of my favourite players, huge signing. I think Ben Lake, he plays the perfect ice hockey game. You talk about those boys being old school. There's an old school throwback of a player. You can fight, you can skate, you can shoot, you can take draws, you can kill, you can put him on a PP. He's a multi-tool. He's a Swiss Army knife. Absolutely used for everything. And big signing for the Giants, in my opinion.
Love him. Love his all-round game. Like you say, he just brings everything to the table. He'd be a fan's favourite in any side in the Elite League.
Talk about fan favourites. Dundee Stars have lost theirs, and watch me while I butcher his name. Elia Baraja. Is that it?
That's how I would say it.
Yeah, that's how I'd say it.
Elijah Baraja.
So he had 65 points in the Elite League, 35 plus 31, something like that last year, 34 plus 31. Impressive performance with Stars. Giants have snapped him up. Goal scoring talent is hard to come by. He's got it. With what we've just released on Scott Conway coming out with a big statement, are they bringing him in to soften the blow that Conway's gone?
I think they've got another trick up their sleeve.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure.
But I'd be very happy with this signing.
Yeah, he did very well on a 9th place or 10th place team. Let's see what he's like when he's in the offensive zone more and they got the puck more.
Oh, he's going to do some serious damage.
Yeah, weapon. Alex Graham is now a full-time Sheffield Steeler, so shout out to former podcast guest Alex on his first official full-time contract. Expect big things from Alex. We talk about pressure with Hull. No one is going to be putting more pressure on himself than Alex. He knows he can deliver at that level. I hope he's taking his off ice and stuff seriously. And he's going to go out and shove it up a lot of people's hoops.
Love to see that.
Would love to see it. 80 points last year in like 39 games in the National. Absolutely phenomenal. Great kid from my experience with him. Obviously, he had his shit with GB. He hasn't let it bother him. He's just continued to grow. Focused on the National last year. Smashed it. Did well with the Steelers when he was up. All the guys seem to love him that I spoke to when he interviewed, like Petgrave and Whistle and a few of the Simsy and all the guys up there with the Steelers. They like him in the organisation. And if he does well, he could arguably be there for as long as he wants. Or he can definitely set himself up for an opportunity in Europe or with the Giants. Or he can, if he goes in there and has a good couple of seasons, he's going to set himself up nicely.
He has huge potential, doesn't he? Being a local lad, if he shows him what he's capable of, like I keep saying the word fans' favourite, but he really could be. He has huge potential for that. If he has a good year ahead with the Steelers and the Steelers have some success, he's going to look great going into GB selection potentially.
Shout out to Sheffield Steel Dogs on their hell of a performance, helping progress that kid on to the talent he is now and the opportunities they've gave him. They cannot be forgetting on this journey, because we know
No, absolutely
the
not.
Steelers will be all up in that shit that he's one of their own. He kind of is, but he's a dog.
Dogs played a huge part.
Yeah. Last one then. Pelini is on the move. He is on the move to Germany, and he is actually not going to the DEL. He's not going to the DEL 2. He's going to the Oberliga. Now, as Joey Lewis said, the Oberliga is still a good league. There's still some really good players in, but I did not see this one coming. I thought DEL 2 is the very minimum he was going to go to from Norway. I guess with the baby and a good opportunity, I don't know what the town's like that he's decided to move to, but I'm guessing it's nice, and that's a factor when you've got a young family. But yeah, caught me off guard. What about you?
Well, I initially thought he would end up in Cardiff. I really did think, I don't know why, I just thought he'd end up there, but to be in the third tier of German hockey, I would have said no. Del 2, yeah, but he must be getting a nice deal in the Oberliga, so fair play. I mean, if it works out and there's a potential to jump up from that position, you know, showcase himself a little bit, get the local scouts in the German leagues watching him, whether it's the Del or Del 2, maybe this is part of the reason.
I don't think you're wrong. I do not think you're wrong, but the scouts should have seen him when he was sniping 2 goals in the last game of the World Champs, if they were watching.
Yep.
But guys, I have to go to work, so it's finish off the roundup. If you don't want us to have to disappear off and go to work, you can go to Patreon. You can go to Buy Me a Coffee. You could help us out that way. And very soon, we will have our merch store right here on YouTube, as well as on other outlets. We better let you know what that is. The biggest thing you could do to do us a favor right now is like these videos. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. Get more people involved. UK now have a UK hockey-based YouTube channel. Let's make the most out of it. That involves getting you guys involved in the mix. Let's hear your comments on what some of these signings, who do you think is going to be the signing of the season. Adam Barnes, for me, this week has definitely been the signing of the week. Mark, signing of the week for you?
It's got to be the same. Boring, but it just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's a big player in the National League. I think the first comment on the post was he would have been a legit pickup for any National League team.
Yeah.
And I can't argue with that comment. That's perfect. But I really do have to go to work, guys. So, peace.
Peace.